ここは刑務所です。路上ではありません。
ほとんどの受刑者は顔を含めた全身にタトゥーを入れており、忠誠心を示しています。 MS13 の場合、タトゥーにはイニシャルまたは数字の13がよく使われます。他のギャングのメンバーは足すと18になり、悪魔を象徴する666や18などの記号を使用したり、ローマ数字を使用したりします。顔にギャングの入れ墨をすることは、彼らが組織で最も冷酷でハイランクのメンバーであるという証です。路上でそのような人と行き当たったら、死神の顔を見つめるのと同じことになります。クモの巣のタトゥーは司法制度の網に引っかかって長期の懲役刑に服していることを表しています。悪魔の角のタトゥーはこの人々の悪魔崇拝を表す暗いシンボルです。悪魔に命令されて行動を実行したと主張する人もいます。ティアドロップのタトゥーはその人が誰かの人生を終わらせたことを意味します。涙のタトゥーは通常誰かの人生に終止符を打ったことを意味します。涙が3つある場合はタトゥーの所有者が数えきれないほど多くの命を奪ったことを示しています。これらのマスクやピエロのタトゥーは今は困難に直面しても強くいて、後で結果に対処するという明確なメッセージを送っています。この人たちはみんな本当に悪い人なんですか？
別の事件にいます。決してメンタリティを変えることのない大物の犯罪者です。
上の方を見るとキャットウォークエリアがあります。看守は独房の上にこの高い場所から囚人たちを常に監視しています。何か不審なことが発生した場合は介入します。隙のないカメラのネットワークが年中無休で隅々まで監視し、何もかも見逃されないようにします。島内は監視のために昼夜を問わず点灯され続けます。
MS-13 is one of the major gangs.
And they are satanic also.
That was my question. So very little.
Sorry.
No. But I would hope you will explain it, because very little has been written in the West about this.
They're satanic, yes.
But actually, literally, can you explain?
Well, they didn't start as a satanic organization. MS-13 started in Los Angeles in the U.S. because Salvadorans weren't allowed to sell drugs by the Mexican gangs. So they created a gang that was called the 18th Street Gang, because they basically wanted to sell drugs in a street that was 18th Street over there. But then division started they started dividing themselves and started infighting. So they created the MS-13, and then the MS-13 started outgrowing the other gangs, and they started exporting the organization to other parts of the U.S. And when Bill Clinton decided to deport those guys, he didn't tell our government at the time, I'm deporting these criminals. They just sent them here. And they came, there were few, but unchecked. At the same time, some laws were passed to protect minors from imprisonment. And of course, the gangs used that to recruit 15-year-olds, 16-year-olds, 17-year-olds. So at the beginning it was, some youth causing harm, assaulting, trying to control their territory, selling drugs. Things that are bad, but probably not critical. But they grew, and they started controlling territories. A few years later, they were actually a huge international criminal organization that they had bases in Italy, Guatemala, Honduras, El Salvador, the U.S. Basically, a lot of major cities in the U.S. will have strongholds.
Right outside Washington, D.C.
Yes, of course. And you have in Long Island and
yes.
In L.A. It's a huge criminal international organization. So they grew and they started, killing more people just to get territory or to fight against rival gangs or to, collect debts or, money or whatever. But as the organization grew, they became satanic. They started doing satanic rituals. I don't know exactly when that started, but it was well documented.
Yes.
And in our arrest, we've even found outdoors and things like that.
Yes, I've seen them.
And so they became a satanic organization. And even when you, sometimes when you interview gang members that are in prison, they would say, I'm out of the gang. Of course, they're in prison. But they would say, I'm not a member of the gang anymore. And when they asked them why, I remember one I remember the news outlet that made it this, but it's a very well-known news outlet that made this interview with a gang member in person. We allowed them to go into prisons and do the interviews. And the guy that they asked him, how many people have you killed? And he said, I don't remember. He didn't remember how many. Probably 10, 20. He didn't remember. And then they asked him, and what is your position in the gang? He explained how he went up in positions, but I left the gang. I said, why did you left the gang? And he said, well, because I was used to kill people, but I killed for territory. I killed to collect money. I killed for extortion. But I came to this house, and they were about to kill a baby, and he. Killer that had killed tens of people said, oh, wait, what are we doing? Why are we going to kill that baby? And they told him, because the beast asked for a baby, so we have to give him a baby. So he said that he couldn't resist that, so he left the gang. He's in prison because he's a killer, but he left the gang because he couldn't tolerate what he was seeing.
So human sacrifice was a part.
Well, in the United States a couple of weeks ago or a couple of days ago, I don't remember exactly, I saw the news that they were going to kill a young girl, or they killed a young girl, I don't exactly remember, because it was a satanic ritual. What happened in the U.S.?
Astonishing admission by the Roman Catholic Church. They run the CIA. Did you know the CIA is also dubbed? Are you familiar with the Jesuit oath? Its devious plans to control the wealth of the nations, enslave the masses, and depopulate the world. Pope Francis is a Jesuit.
So do you know who Jesuits are, Marianne?
Kind of, yes. I was raised Catholic, so I'm familiar with Jesuits.
Okay. And what can you tell me about Jesuits?
They seem to be more liberal priests, I guess.
All right, so they are a male congregation in the Roman Catholic Church, as you know. And so what we're going to do is just read the Jesuit oath, okay? So I'm going to have you follow along. It says,
I furthermore promise and declare that I will,
when opportunity presents, make and wage relentless war, secretly or openly, against all heretics.
I will hang, waste, boil, flay, strangle, and bury alive,
rip up the stomachs and wombs of their women in order to annihilate forever.
The first Roman Catholic Vice President of the United States of America. While he is the very first Vice President who is a Roman Catholic, we also have the very first Jesuit Roman Catholic leader, the Pope Francis. These Jesuits, though they infiltrate other governmental structures, they simply will never tell you that they are Jesuits, but they will tell you that they are simply Roman Catholics. Their allegiance belongs to the Pope. These so-called Roman Catholics, they are Jesuits, especially the ones who are in political structures or in judicial positions of power. The United States of America is run by Jesuits. They use the order of the Masons as scapegoats. The majority of people, the minute they hear the words Freemason, they automatically think the most evil secret society. But when they hear Jesuits, they think, oh, Pope Francis is a Jesuit, he's a good person, he's a Roman Catholic. I think the Jesuits are connected to the Roman Catholics. They have hospitals and schools and many other good institutions, so they're not that bad. But that's how they operate. They operate in a very subtle way. The evidence for this is that we see a reflection between America.
They touch me. They are plastic bullies. They can stick it in our bottom.
Who does? Who sticks it in your bottom?
Social services. Everybody. And all of them.
Who?
Everybody.
Does your mother do it?
No.
Do I do it?
No.
Who does it then?
Papa, Mrs. Collins, the school.
Parents.
My dad's
Tell me more people. Tell me some more people.
Parents, police.
What about the teachers at school? Who's the main one?
Papa, Mr. Collins, Mrs. Forsyth.
Who's Mrs. Forsyth?
She's the head teacher of our school.
What happens in the church?
And we do sacrifice and eat the baby.
What do you mean sacrifice and eat the baby?
So we kill the baby and eat it and drink the blood from it.
Is that true, Gabriel?
Yes. And we dance with the skulls.
You what?
We dance with the skulls in the church.
What skulls?
Skulls of the baby.
Pardon?
The skulls of the baby.
You dance with the baby skulls? And who kills the baby?
Papa, me and Lisa. And so
Who kills the babies?
Papa.
And what, he gets you to help him?
Yes.
Shoot.
So he tells us to hold the hand on the knife, and then he holds his hand on our hand. So then he cuts the baby's head off. And then he puts it upside down, and then we drain the blood.
And then what they do?
And then we cook it, and then we drink the blood, and then after we go down to the skulls.
We have been out since about 4:30 this morning. The great men and women of law enforcement have been working on this operation for days and days and probably weeks. Early this morning, one of the top leaders of MS-13 was apprehended. He was the leader for the East Coast, one of the top 3 in the entire country. Right here in Virginia, living half an hour outside of Washington, D.C. He is an illegal alien from El Salvador, and he will not be living in our country much longer. He's in custody this morning. One of the top leaders right here near our nation's capital. I just cannot thank Governor Youngkin enough for his leadership in this effort. This has been a joint effort with state and local agencies. FBI Director Patel, thank you so much.